A shout out to White George and Amy Chen for these videos. They are here to remind every person who's committed to being racist or anti-black, to remind them that in case they want to take things extra, they might as well, get rid of these things that black people invented. I will add my own contributions at the end of this video. Please consider subscribing and let's get into the video.
If you're really committed to being a racist in this country, you can't unsee what I'm about to show you. You might want to start checking Amazons for blankets, because this gas furnace behind me, you don't get to have one of those either, because that was invented by a black woman named Alice Parker around 1920. She received a patent on it. Yeah, that's how we stay warm today. I mean, if you love potato chips, they gotta go, because a man named George Crumb, a chef in New York, had sent French fries out with a meal and a customer complained. So what did Mr. Crumb do? He sliced potatoes so thin, fried them up, dumped a bunch of salt on them, and sent them out. And that is the American delight of potato chips. They gotta go. Here in the bathroom, Lotta Newman patented the first hairbrush with synthetic bristles in 1898. And she's just the third Black American woman to ever receive a patent. Now, I know this isn't going to affect those skinheads very much. In 1892, George Sampson of Dayton, Ohio, received patent number 476,416 for what is the forerunner of the modern dryer we use today. It's going to suck dry on your clothes outside. In the late 1880s, Samuel Scotron of Pennsylvania patented the curtain rod. Ooh, let's go piss off some white girls. It's going to be really hard to plan racist rallies without a color monitor. Invented by Mark Dean, an engineer at IBM, he is also on 3 of the original 9 patents of the IBM PC that came out in 1981. Did you know in 1897, Albert Crowell in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, developed the mechanized ice cream scoop? You know, the click, click that separates the ice cream from the spoon, changing the way ice cream is served. And if you're racist and an ice cream lover, it's going to get worse. I told you it's going to get worse. Augustus Jackson, the father of ice cream, pioneered many of the methods we have today to enjoy ice cream, including the way we salt it. Another thing about being a racist, you're going to have to give up the freezer and frozen foods, because Frederick McKinley Jones of Ohio, who was orphaned at 9 years old with a 6th grade education, a young biracial boy, grew up to invent Thermo King, which is the reason why we have frozen foods that are shipped and stored in stores and our homes. You got to give up ice cream and frozen pieces? So if you still want to be a racist, there are some things you're going to need to purge from your life. If you would, just put it out on the curb. I'll send some trucks around to pick it up, and we'll go give it to real Americans who really need it.
You're obviously not aware of this, but blessed is not a word the global majority thinks of in association with Europeans. Words like plague and colonizer, maybe, but not blessed. And the cell phone in my hand came from China. So I don't know if you're referencing Steve Jobs or Martin Cooper or the Finnish inventor who created the first pocket-sized telecommunication device in 1917, and you probably don't know either because your education system has left you terribly ignorant and without the critical thinking skills necessary to effectively gather information. Because you believe that most great inventions can be attributed to one white person, as opposed to recognizing that the patent system is how white people colonize intellectual property. We would not have cell phones if it wasn't for the creation of the gamma electrical cell by black inventor Henry T. Sampson. And most of our cell phones would not have microphones in them if it wasn't for the particular microphone that was created by black inventor James Edward West. The creation of the first digital network, 1G, was launched in Japan, and then black electrical engineer Jesse Russell pioneered the creation of 2G, which launched in Finland first. 3G launched in Japan, 4G launched in Norway, 5G launched in South Korea, and 30% of the world's cell phones are manufactured in China. Because we, of the global majority, recognize that collective humanity has the ingenuity and creativity of one another to thank. whereas a lot of European Americans are laboring under the delusion that the rest of us have white people to thank. And it's this narcissistic ignorance that causes people like you to do embarrassing things, like leaving comments about Europeans and cell phones on a video about systemic anti-black racism in the United States. And while that could be written off as a comedic and senile non sequitur, we recognize it as a desperate attempt to center yourself in a conversation that has nothing to do with you. The irony being that white people like to say not all white people and they shouldn't be held accountable for the misdeeds of their ancestors, yet they want to be associated with the greatness of the things that they think they invented.
I got some bad news for you. Your Nectar of the Gods, Hidden Valley Ranch dressing, was created by a black Nebraska cowboy named Steve Henson. And what many people might not know is he was a plumbing contractor in Alaska and made his fortune up there. And he created the dry powder ranch seasoning and gave it out to his employees, and they loved it. And when he retired and bought Hidden Valley Ranch in California, hence the name Hidden Valley Ranch, he started to sell it. Now he ended up selling it to Clorox Bleach, which they still own, which is a little weird when you think about it. The perfect white condiment sold to a company that makes a chemical that makes everything white. What did Mr. Henson know that he's not telling us? I almost feel sorry for you a little bit on this one. See that television behind me? There's a black badass American named Otis Boykin who developed a wire precision resistor for these TVs, which helped control the flow of electricity. More importantly, 2 years later, he improved upon this in 1961, making versions that could withstand extreme changes in pressure and temperature. Now, why is this important? Because TVs that work in Denver, Colorado would not work correctly in Little Rock, Arkansas. That being a very humid, hot state, Colorado being very dry, and then different air pressure up there. This greatly reduced the cost of TVs because you could mass produce them and sell them in Texas and Alaska, the same model. But wait, there's more. This man also developed the control unit for the pacemaker, which exists in over 1 million people today. So if you're racist, you probably know somebody's life who was saved by Otis Boykin. And the TV you watch? Otis Boykin. And he also helped design guided missile systems for the military. Yeah, told you he's a badass. Oh, you're not gonna like this. Not the lawnmower. Yep. Now, while John Albert Burr did not invent the lawnmower, he did patent the mechanical lawnmowers you see pictured above, which has design elements that are used to today's mowers, as well as his original mechanical design is making a huge comeback with people being really conscious about climate change. I guess some people are going to be hiring a lawn service now. Can't be using a lawnmower improved upon by a black man. This one's going to sting. The ultimate white powder, sugar. Norbert Ryu, a black Creole Cajun man from Louisiana, was obsessed with steam engines and was a widely regarded expert in them. He developed an evaporator process that has revolutionized the entire sugar industry, and some of his principles are still used today. Gotta go. So after all this, if you are still down with this racist gig, a lot of your shit's gotta go. I mean, you're gonna have a huge garage sale. And I just have one thing to say to all the stuff you gotta get rid of.
Okay, so just to dive in deeper into this, guys, the race that made the most inventions during the golden age of invention, 87% came from the black people born in the United States. If you want to argue on that, please go ahead and argue with Google, please. Black people were among the most important contributors to this, accounting for more patents than immigrants from any country except Germany and England. Just to top up on this, guys, I have a list of 10 things invented by black people. Feel free to leave your own knowledge on this in the comment section below. So I'll start with the first one, folding cabinet bed, Sarah Goody, 1885. Gas mask, Garrett Morgan, not sure of the year. Blood bank, Charles Richard Drew. Home security system, Mary Van, 1969. Tissue holder, Mary Davidson. Peanut butter, George Washington Carver. Automatic gear shift, Richard Spikes. Dustpan, Lloyd P. Ray. reversible baby stroller, William Richardson, fire extinguisher, Tom Marshall. Look it up. That's all I had for you guys in today's video. Please make sure you subscribe and turn on your notification bell so that every time I upload such videos, guys, you'll be notified. I'll see you in my next video. Peace.